Now that we've familiarized yourself a little bit with layers, let's create a text. We're going to start with calling it Gatton. It'll soon become clear when I illustrate it on the preview. Let's choose Batman Forever Alternative, which just happens to be the Gatton font. Now we are working on the middle layer, just to be clear. Let's enlarge the piece here, and we're going to move it using the Move Selected Objects tool, where the center is specifically at 5, 5, which is the center of our workpiece. Gatton will be on top, CNC will be in the middle. Let me show you what we're trying to create. As you can see, the Gatton is all the way on the top, CNC is one level below it, and you have a pocket hole in the back. This is called text on text. So now that you have an idea of what we're shooting for, let's continue. We're going to add the text of the CNC. Likewise, we're going to move this to position 5, 5, centered. And there we have the basis of our sign. This is where it starts to get a little complicated. If we cut the CNC out by itself, it will cut into the G, it'll cut into the A, the T's, the O, and even a bit of the N. And these pieces here will not pop out of the Gatton. For the top layer, we're basically cutting around the Gatton itself. And for the moment, I'm going to move all of this, move to layer top. If we go only to the middle layer, there's nothing there. I'm going to go to the top layer, grab these, and copy them to the middle layer. Here, let's start with nothing. We turn on the top layer, it should have Gatton CNC. We turn on the middle layer, it has Gatton CNC. So there are now two copies. One on the top, one in the middle. Let's cut the top layer, shall we? Although we have both Gatton and CNC here, the top layer, which is just the frame and the Gatton by itself, and a pocket hole with the frame. So we're going to light the frame. We're going to turn on the frame and the top. We're going to go to our toolpaths and create our first toolpath, which is a pocket toolpath with the Gatton and the middle. And the pocket toolpath will be 0.25. If we calculate that, you'll notice that it takes out a 1/4 inch from the Gatton. Everything else that's further down is CNC without touching the Gatton. So here we go for the second layer. All of this area has already been pocketed a 1/4 inch, and we're not cutting any of the Gatton. Now we go to the middle layer. As you remember, we copied both items to the middle layer. The next layer that's cut out starts at a 1/4 inch and goes down another 1/4 inch. In other words, to the 1/2 inch deep pocket. And it cuts this CNC out and leaves this Gatton. So this is exactly what we need for the pocket hole. This must be in one piece. If it's not in one piece, that is what you're going to end up with. You're going to be cutting the A, the 2 T's, the whole O, and leaving the G and the N, which gets to be very, very confusing. In fact, here's what you're going to end up with. One messed up, washed out sign. Take both of them and weld selected vectors. This will give you exactly what you need. From the looks of it, it's correct. Now you can safely create your pocket by choosing everything from the inner frame on, clicking calculate, and here we go. You'll notice that's definitely the look we want. To run through it real quickly again, the first pocket cut out the Gatton up to the halfway point, if you will, up to a 1/4 inch deep. The second toolpath cut everything else It left the Gatton alone, and it continued to cut the CNC. One easy way to imagine this is pretend that the water level is just dropping ever so slowly. First, it's at the very, very top, and at the very, very top, you can make out the bar just under the lip. You can make out this, and you can make out the Gatton. That's at the surface. The water will go down a 1/4 inch, and that'll be what it's cutting out. It'll be cutting out the insides of these letters. It'll be cutting out everything around Gatton. And it'll stop here. That is your first cut. That is your top layer. The next layer is the CNC and the top, because you don't want to touch the top. If you cut the CNC alone, you will erase bits and pieces that you cut on the top. So you have to include both texts for the second layer. And it's just that simple. Now for the next lesson, we'll do some texturing. Stay tuned. Luckily for us, if you were paying attention to last